ML Sports Take, Stanley Law Offices and Bryant and Stratton College bringing it to you. Well, just a few days ago, a very sad day for a lot of people in the football world, Syracuse University and myself, and so many people who considered Floyd Little a friend. And that's, I mean, he had so many. I've never been given so much kindness by anybody in the sports world than Floyd Little. So many awesome experiences. He spent an entire hour in my radio studio when he came out with his book to chat football and stories and life and sales and lessons and business and the whole thing. What youngsters playing football, should do. Work ethic, 110, 3 to 1, all the great things I remember. And then I ran into him at the ballpark just a couple of years ago, never thinking in a million years that when I took an unbelievable picture with him in my Syracuse hat, my 44 jersey, and he had his Pro Football Hall of Fame hat on. Never in a million years did I think that would be the last time that I would see Floyd Little. He gets cancer just recently, of course, spends the last 8 weeks in hospice trying to keep him comfortable until his last breath. And he was an unbelievable football player, but he was an even better guy. And in terms of the football stuff, you look at, I guess we'll go backwards a little bit. You look at the pro career with the Denver Broncos. I think there's a lot of people who don't understand what kind of an impact Floyd Little had. He saved the franchise. That was a franchise that was basically folding. And his entertaining running, his kick returning, his punt returning, the Swiss Army knife like Floyd Little, like Gale Sayers, those kind of guys, they were pioneer players. Plus, they were African-American players, setting the stage for so many to follow them during very, very tough times still in this country with the civil unrest and all that, in the late 60s, early 70s, you name it. And then you look at the college situation with Floyd Little, 3 years of varsity dominating, 2 years finishing the top 5 of the Heisman Trophy, and he could catch the ball out of the backfield. He could run it. Same thing in the pros with Denver, like I just mentioned, being that Swiss Army knife type guy, kick returner, punt returner, run the football, catch the football, and in the same backfield as Tom Coughlin as well. Now remember, Floyd Little was also recruited by multiple schools, Notre Dame and the U.S. military. But he said, no, I'm going to Syracuse. He was persuaded by one Ernie Davis, who, of course, followed Jim Brown in the 44 footsteps. And he persuaded Floyd Little to come to Syracuse, play up on the hill, Archibald Stadium, and the rest is history. And then Floyd Little, of course, a member of the College Football and Pro Football Halls of Fame. One of the best people. I mean, if I had to put together a top 3, 5, 7, 10 list, in no particular order, you're kind of splitting hairs when it comes down to the nicest people you've talked to. Like, how do you break it down? How do you say Bernie Williams is nicer than Floyd Little? Or how do you say Floyd Little, is nicer than, athlete or coach, C and D? I don't know how you do that. But one thing I do know is that there weren't many cut like Floyd Little. There were not many cut from that cloth. And I think Floyd Little, this one hurts for me because he was such a good dude, and many text message conversations with him, phone calls, having him on air, in-person studio visits. 1 hour he gave me with his book. And the final thing I'll tell you about Floyd is I have a Syracuse helmet that when you're in the media and you're credentialed and you're in a very professional setting, you never ask for an autograph, right? Because you get, first of all, it's super unprofessional. Number two, you get your credential revoked, and rightly so. But sometimes in the media, we're in a little bit more casual environments where it's okay to ask a Hall of Famer or a player, maybe an idol that you had as a kid, hey, would you mind signing this ball? Would you mind signing this helmet? I had this helmet for Floyd, and I said, hey, Floyd, would you mind signing this? And he said, no, that's okay. It's fine. And I said, number 44 in 2010 HOF. I'm a big inscription guy. I got a collection at home. And he obliged and told me a story about the Hall of Fame inscriptions and all that, and when they can and when they can't, and all these different things in between. And I said, well, look, if you can't do any of that, don't sign the helmet. I don't want you to feel bad. He put his hand on my shoulder. He goes, Mike, please, I'll sign your helmet. And shook my hand with those big hands. And it hurts. It hurts. Floyd Little passing away. This one hurts big time. This one stings. And he just touched so many people. He touched so many coaches and players and youth and inner city people in the cities of Syracuse and Denver and everywhere he went. He made such an impact in the athletic department at Syracuse. He's going to be missed. Just, again, one of the great football players to ever walk the planet, but an even better guy. Mike Lindsley with you, ML Sports Take, brought to you by the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group, our good friends at Hides of Liverpool, and our good pals at Stanley Law Offices. It's simple. Just call Joe. ML Sports Take.